Dear students of class 3, today we are going to discuss about hundreds and hundreds of wax. Chapter 2, subject English. Wax means movements of the tail from side to side or up and down. In this chapter, we are going to learn about an unhappy puppy who at last could wag his tail. Husky was an unhappy puppy. His brothers and sisters had long curly tails, but he had a very short one. It was so small you could hardly see it. Here, what we learn is that the name of the little puppy was Husky. He was an unhappy puppy. Why? Because he had a very short tail and it was also a very small one. His brothers and sisters, they had long curly tails. Now his brothers and sisters could make their tails stand up straight and stiff when they were happy. They could wag them when they were happy. They could hide them between their legs when they were unhappy. They could even run around in circles, chasing their own tails. Now, Husky was an unhappy puppy because he had a short tail and a curly tail. But his brothers and sisters, they could play with their tails because they had a long tails, and they could also make their tails stand up straight and stiff when they were angry, and they could wag their tails when they were happy, and they could also hide their tails between their legs when they were unhappy. They could even chase around their own tails. But Husky could not do this, and because of this, he was so unhappy. So one day, he decided to leave home. Now, what did Husky do? He ran far away as fast as his legs could carry him. At last, he stopped in front of a meat shop in a busy market. Husky's mouth watered and his nose twitched. Twitch means moving up and down because of the smell of the food. He was hungry, but the meat shop owner chased him away. After Husky decided to leave home, what did he do? He ran away and finally he stopped in front of a meat shop in a busy market. While he was standing there in front of the meat shop, his mouth started watering and his nose started twitching up and down because of the smell of the food. But though he was very hungry, the meat shop owner did not give him a bone. Instead, he chased him away. So Husky felt sad and alone. Then an old dog slowly came over to where Husky sat. When the meat shop owner had chased Husky away, he was feeling sad and alone, lonely. And then at that time, an old dog slowly came over to where Husky was sitting. And what did the old dog say to Husky? He asked him, "Are you new here?" So Husky said, "Yes." And the old dog also told Husky that if he wants something, he should look at people sadly. Then, when the people looked back at him, he had to wag his tail and showing him how to wag his tail. By showing him how to wag his tail, the old dog told Husky to look at people sadly. But Husky stayed silent and looked down. When Husky stayed silent and looked down, the old dog asked him in surprise, "Why? What's the matter?" And how did Husky reply? He replied, "It is because of my tail. My tail is too small to wag." When Husky said that his tail is too small to wag, the old dog laughed at him and said to him that he is a silly young pup. Now, the old dog also told Husky that wagging of tail comes from a dog's herd. He can wag his tail well. In order to wag his tail, he should think of happy things like juicy bones, cats to chase, a warm, dry place to sleep. As the old dog named all these happy things, Husky began to wag his tail. Now, the old dog also told Husky to think of something that will make him happy. And what did he say to him? What did Husky say? I would like one of those juicy bones over there. So, saying this, he looked at the bones in the meat shop and slowly began to wag his tail. At first, it was hard for Husky to wag his tail, but as he thought more about the bone, the wag became stronger and stronger. Now, the old dog told Husky to go up to the man and wag his tail so that he might give him a bone. So Husky wagged his tail at the meat shop owner. When Husky wagged his tail at the meat shop owner, he was also afraid that the man would get angry and was afraid that his tail would stop wagging. But Husky keep on wagging his tail with all his heart. And finally, what happened? A fat, juicy bone came whizzing. Whizzing means flying fast through the air. When a fat, juicy bone came flying through the air, Husky jumped and caught the bone. Then he dropped it at the feet of the old dog. And he said, "This juicy bone is for you," to the old dog. But what did the old dog say? The old dog said that this bone is yours because you wag your tail for it. So finally, Husky proudly said that I can always get another one. After all, there are hundreds and hundreds of wags in my tail. This is the story of Hundreds and Hundreds of Wags by Santini Govindan. And for your assignment is to learn these words with their meanings and to write them down in your notebook. Wags. Number 1, wags. Movements of the tail from side to side or up and down. 2, hardly, not really. 3, stiff, difficult to bend. 4, twitch, move up and down because he smelled food. Stared, look at something with wide open eyes for a long time. With all his heart, he tried very hard. Whizzing, flying fast. Never mind, a way of saying that's all right. Thank you.